So in the Vinaya, the Code of Monastic Conduct, as well as in Sutra as well, the Lord Buddha has said that one should not perform any kind of negative action. One should perfect one's virtue. One should tame one's own mind, and that is the teaching of the Buddha. The explanation of this is that one should not perform any negative action. This refers to any kind of negative action which is by means of one's body, physical actions, verbal actions by means of speech, or mental actions, different kinds of thought. Any kind of negative action of body, speech, and mind should not be performed. And these, if one examines where negative actions come from, they arise out of the mental afflictions. We can see that it's desire, hatred, and ignorance that motivate us to engage in negative actions. And these negative actions themselves serve as the cause for the arising of suffering, and they actualize suffering. So therefore, one should avoid engaging in these negative actions that give rise to all of the different forms of suffering that we experience. And one should perfect all virtue. Here, perfecting all one's virtue refers to the cultivation of the path. And the basic foundation of the path is ethical conduct, some kind of proper ethical conduct, such that one, in engaging in ethical conduct, one avoids, as a consequence of engaging in ethical conduct, it's primarily an avoidance of engaging in negative kinds of activities, negative behavior. So in ordinary state, our minds, when we're in a samsaric sort of state, our minds are dominated or under the control of the mental afflictions, and being under that control of the mental afflictions, we engage in negative forms of behavior, body, physical, verbal, mental activity, which causes us to suffer. So in perfecting one's virtue, one avoids the negative kinds of behavior and engages in positive kinds of behavior, and that both prevents the creation of future suffering as well as creating the cause of happiness. Then the third line of this verse says one should tame one's own mind. The taming of the mind refers to the three trainings, higher trainings of the Dharma. The training of ethical conduct, again, as a foundation, that's the basis. Then developing meditative concentration, and then based upon those two, the development of wisdom. And so these three first lines encompass the avoidance of negativity, the creation of virtue, and the development of the path.
Oh yeah, rangi semni yonsu tu teni sanje temba yin say kana tenita o chudunji lawa tingi lawa shadoji lawa tela tene ane rangi sem simji ni mondo shawandu sonate ane shiwara cheba kishene ane sem tuwa cheba inzang rangi semni yonsu tu nyomo beta ule ane shiwara cheba inzang rangi semni yonsu tu what to what it be, and it lost some botany, and it tobe temba, tennis and jet temba yin, setting tobe temba, lundo temba you are.
So then, as far as taming the mind is concerned, this is basically a process of pacifying or pacifying the enemy within one, the mental afflictions of desire, hatred, and ignorance. And the three trainings then are the methods, path to achieving this kind of pacification or elimination of the internal enemy of attachment, anger, and ignorance. So labasumgi nangitao dupsum. So the three trainings then are designed to tame the mind, the untamed or unruly mind. The three trainings are intended to tame them, and once these mental afflictions that make the mind unruly are tamed, then one achieves a state of peace. And this labasum dokpe
temba tine sanje temba sanje ki temba la lundo ki lungi temba da tobe temba ni na ne tobe temba.
So then among the two, I mean, when we categorize the Buddha's teaching into two, there's the teaching that is understanding and the teaching which is scripture. This has to do with the path of the three trainings has to do with the teaching which is the understanding side of the teaching.
다 통마 아니 콤바 담보 때라 주 충을 가서 아니 링아기 녀시 도야 되라 아니 나는 순시 이게 담보 담데 리지 메게 와다 메시 마체신 레는 순보 되다 rab잖아 장선 순비 남녀 타버려 주 전에 직티 와가다나 다 콤바 담보 때라 메게 주봉 거야 돼 나는 순신 나의 거네 준 참아 치줄어서 도래 ngana su yi ji rab tam de se ke yi ji na nap sem lep sum lo ta sum do ye li ji mi ge wa da me che ji se ga lu nga ki ani o so je ma je ni mi sa wa che ba la lo yin la so wa o tin zo bon ye o ti yi dang kwang ba tang bo de na ngana su ji yi ji rab da di li ji mi ge wa da ma cha me che ching se le lam sum bo ta da se lu nga ki le sum bo ta da rab chang na 장성 수비 남녀 토바를 주로 전에 소환하시 다 콤바 담보되라 아니 룡하기 녀시담 콤바 녀시 니와 되나 룡하기 녀시 꾸네 롱야기 차당 모순당 대자와 대양 마리바라 투바 현상 차당 모순 마리바다 제바 봉제기 조 남되라 아니 주름지라와 시송제네 대등도 아니 등에지 라와당 아니 셰러지 라와 냠수 렘발라 때네 아니 다 가소래 렘바시도 아 장성 수비 남녀 토바 주르세게 람 타바다 탑제 집에 고마 토바를 해 그러나
Then so this is explained also in la
레도 타진도 다가라 So
in the Sutra of Liberation, individual liberation, the basic text on ethical conduct, there's a verse also that says that the intent of this verse is that if one, the meaning underlying this verse, again,
주인 참아 치중아 치주되어지 송와 송와 치주는 거 먼저 나게 넘어 domba 오늘와 나는 송신 나게 권에 주인 참아 치주 봐 송와 이게 권에 납심 내심 로다 domba 와 나는 송시 이게 랍담데 류지 미게 와다 메시지 세가 류지 권에 소자바 마진발려바 로엠 라서와 그다 미게 주었어. 리지 와다 미지와 메시징스 레람 숨보 대다 아세가라 리지레 나게레 이지레 숨보 대랍도 장네 토마 대장 디제소 레데다 꾸네 롱제지 아니 가소레 차당 모순다 디자와 당제 마르발라 투바 옌베 대다 뽕와 제발기 아니 님보 주름질라외 시송 대등도 등에지 나와다 셰럽게 나와 등에진지 때내 집에 아니 실라 손대기 아니 등에지 가서 나와 원래 좀 봐 신도 공부할 때나 탈을 아니 장송기 좀 된데지 순비 타바다 탐제 집에 남대 마 토바주 그래서 장소 순비 안에 토바줄
So this verse, the basic sense of it is that the Buddha is telling us that initially we need to restrain our bodies, our verbal actions, our physical actions. We need to tame these verbal and physical actions, and then also to tame the activity of mind, thought. So in the initial phase, one restrains one's speech such that one doesn't tell lies, one doesn't engage in harsh speech towards others, and so forth. And then in terms of the physical actions, one restrains oneself from engaging, from killing, from stealing, from being involved in sexual misconduct. And then on the mental level, mental activity, one avoids in having wrong views. Lokta. So is sort of stinginess, animosity, and wrong views, these sorts of mental activities, one tames one's mind from engaging in those. So these three, body, speech, and mind, encompass the 10 forms of non-virtuous activity, which are called three paths of karma. These paths of karma are subsumed within these three categories, so these 10 paths of non-virtuous karma are, at the initial level, one has to restrain oneself from engaging in those. This is the practice of ethical conduct, and that serves as a foundation basis, such that one, with that as a foundation, one is able to, that itself is the higher training in ethical conduct. Then, based upon that, one engages in the higher training in meditative concentration, and then based upon that, one develops the higher training in wisdom. Here, wisdom, as we've said, is principally the development of the understanding of absence of self, of selflessness. And with that sort of, once one develops that wisdom that realizes selflessness directly, then one's able to eradicate the misconception of the self. And as already you said, that removes the foundation upon which all of the other mental afflictions are based and operate, and then therefore one is freed from the activity of the mental afflictions and the karma that they induce us to create, and then all of the suffering that comes from that, and that likewise culminates then in the achievement of liberation, basically, and then in addition, it's the primary instrument for the achievement of omniscience as well. So the end of this verse says that this is the intent of the last part of this verse is that the great sage here is a name for the Lord Buddha. And he taught that this is the method for achieving the path to liberation and omniscience.
Oh yeah, that in the under Casore Lawasum Lauque, Tina Neta, and the sheriff Gilawa Singatian, and sheriff Gilawa, and it Sheriff Gilawa de la Tarama Boji Benane. That's Samutombani to be. And it said, Shilasundi Sheriff Lauque, Tombani, Tamodan, Banque. God said, oh, in the Yandu Sala Loba de Beta, Sheriff Paru de Chimbala Lawa, Chow, Sikana. What up Yandu Sala Lamgan, Tibasum Lam Kala Lauga de Jaya, and it on you to be Sheriff Gila Lamla Lauque, Doyukasu Sumba. Is a Kanji Lungla Lamdini, Meba Chanju Meba Sung, said Junju Gala Sung, Lungle, said the Lund and the D. And in Yandu Sala, the Sheriff Lava Deba, Sheriff Paru, Chimbala, Laura, Chow, Chegala, Chanju Sumbo, Kandaji Tonga, Yina Yang, Yarang, Yandu Ranja, Tijanji Chanju, Kandaji Lawa, Lena Yang, that don't you to be Sheriff Laukure. Oh, Laukua de Kasankani Shua Nashin, Chani, Chanju Sumbo Tawala. 아니 녀모베 자와 마리바 방고레 대방발라 돈이 무슨 마토발라 방메도 바 인상 아니 가서래 돈용 웃음도 마도 매바에서 다운 웃음도 또 그래 다 돈용 웃음도 또와 제발라 아니 돈이 때라 바꿔봐
So then this is it's explained then that what is this this ultimate training in the higher wisdom? It refers there are of course many different explanations or subdivisions of what wisdom consists in, what wisdom is. And however, here what is being indicated is the wisdom, which is the perfection of wisdom, which understands the emptiness of everything. And further, it's not just the simple conceptual understanding of emptiness, but rather it refers specifically to the direct, intuitive understanding or realization of emptiness. And that it's explained also that this perfection of wisdom, the direct, intuitive understanding of emptiness, is common to the types of awakening which is actualized by all of the practitioners of the Buddhist path, whether one's talking about the Shravakas, or the Pratyeka Buddhas, or Bodhisattvas and so forth. They all have their specific forms of awakening, but the wisdom, as far as the wisdom realizing emptiness, the perfection of wisdom, it's common to all of them in that they all have to achieve that. So this wisdom then is as we've been explaining, is something that therefore it's absolutely necessary to develop this in order to achieve any form of awakening, and therefore in order to realize it directly, to have this direct intuitive realization of emptiness, one first has to understand it correctly, and one has to understand emptiness conceptually, and then in order to understand it correctly conceptually, one has to establish it through reason. Chanchu sumpala.
chanju sumga
Shirapki power.
anja 그 chanju 대진 그 chanju sum가 좀 간단히 터봤잖아 양 돈이 더 비싸라고 그래.
Shirapki power to chimba.
그래.
So yes, so in order to achieve any of the three types of awakening, whether you're talking about that achieved by the Shravaka path, or the Pratyeka Buddha path, or the Bodhisattva path, one has to actualize this perfection of wisdom.
오야 다 텐다에 아니 셔라지 바로 돈이 더 비싸라대야 돈반이야 신도 또 가와 대야 아람도 집어라 또 가와 마인바 좀 전에 원바 줘봐 산제비 내가 그 두자 대다 그냥 아니 사모 돈반에 신도 또 가와 인장 아니 셔시제자 여사 되마세 수월라 출라 된장 고와 민입에 민만 내주 주지 배워 차 챙이가나 아니 좀 전에 대제장 산제네 샤든자 든 아니 최마송바 돈반이 최마송바 돈반이 텐시 또와 민입에서 고와 민입에 최마송바 주니 근데 사용 뭐 삼바단 자신이 좀 내는데 가와 같이 담으면서 소산에 나나면 봐야 안다 봐 저기 창조도 샘제디 안에 샘제기 대부 나나면 봐야 안다 봐 저기 산제요 공반 톰네 안에 샘젠 야와 토와데 밀베 안에 최지점에 세지고로 저도는데 폰 포데 안에 최지고로 꼬와라 때네 아니 가서 쏘았다 왔을 때는 신이 아니 가다 뭐 대시 청고 거와 임바래 인자 뒤내가 그게 두자기에 또 가와 인자 아니 샤딘전지 체험선 봐 저와 셔러래 대제 선배 최대 띵도 가와 천주바 투비 천이 된바네 랍도 로바 주와 인 선이 소나시시 대제 선배 실 누자남 아니 가서래 된두도 챈바 선배 안에 가서 최대기 내로 삼어도 또 가와 대체 현배 취디 띵도 가와 띵도 바가와 뒤치 아니 좀 된데디 체네 아니 가서 대체 띵도 가봐서 rab도 라바 주바인 세네 아니 최 숨발에 봐 rab도 아니 최마된 봐 대체 띵도 가 투비 투니 최된 봐 rab도 투비 투니 최된 봐 rab도 라바 주바인 세네 아니 최마된 봐오 토마 또 가와 인상 아 최마소마 되네 리앙부 삼바의 재신 그 안소왔다 와를 되네 아니 최셔봐 근데 인상 말한서 집보다 도박가와 많이 봐 토마네 아니 두점민 봐도 저래 또 가봐 두신 말에 이리와
So this teaching on emptiness is difficult to understand. It's not the case that it's just difficult for us now to understand. It was even the case at the time of the Buddha that it was difficult for people at that time to understand it as well. This is indicated by the fact that after the Buddha achieved awakening, he initially refrained from teaching the Dharma for 49 days, for 7 weeks. There's a verse in account of his life which says that I have realized a dharma, a dharma thing or a doctrine which is profound, clear, and that is profound, that is peaceful, that is free of elaboration, that is uncreated, this dharma, this thing, and this phenomenon, you could say, and if I teach it to so if I was to teach it to someone else, then to anyone else, they wouldn't understand it. Therefore, it's better that I just go off into the jungle and remain by myself. In this account of the Buddha's career, this verse appears, and this indicates that. The appearance was given that the Buddha was reluctant to teach what he had realized because of concern that other people, when they heard it, would misconstrue it, would not be able to understand it correctly. And so in the account of his life, it's presented as if he was reluctant to teach. And then subsequent to that, the great gods, Indra, Brahma, and Gyachindang, Tsongkhapa, Tsongkhapa Yora.
Tsongkhapa Gyachingi, 아니,
왕보.
다 소왔답니, 그봐. 좀 전에 왕보 조바 상제네. 아니 가서는 뭐 양다바 조위 전에 까진 참했음도 초산네. 다른 왕보 조바 상제네. 아니 다 좋아지다 야가 도와드리 그 말이 아니 세지콜로 저던 내가 푸대 아니 세지콜로 거와 쏘았다 와다 때네 아니 가탐부대시 총으로 숨바래.
So then these gods, these great gods, Indra and Brahma, came and they approached the Buddha as he was remaining in the forest and said to him, it's inappropriate that you have practiced for limitless eons all of these practices, and based upon all of this practice, you've now achieved full perfect awakening. It's not appropriate for you to dismiss other beings' ability to understand this, and therefore we request you to teach the wheel of the Dharma. And in fact, then that's what happened. He went forth from the forest that he had been remaining in, and went and found his former associates who he had been practicing with before he achieved awakening. And then he turned the first wheel of the Dharma at that time. There are additional verses that express the same situation. Tsikche Nipadi. Tsikche Nipa.
Tsikche Nipadi. Tsikche Nipadi did it. Zawashiraki. 대지 현배 최대 등도 된다 다 받더래. 대지 현배 최대 등도 가와 천주네. 또한 안에 가서를 랑zan지 주바다 현배 아니 사모동반이지 아니 동반이 등 또바가와래 대지 현배 최대 등도 가와데 또바가와데 천주네. 투비 투니 최대한 봐서 사모동반이 투바게 사모동반이 최대한 봐달라 안에 로안에 저 마스마 투비 최니 된 최대한 봐라도 로바 주바인 다티 주바를 내셔래.
So there's another verse which is from where's this from?
저처럼
Oh, it's here. Oh, yeah. Sorry. From the basic verses on wisdom by Arya Nagarjuna, there's a verse which says, which is stating the same thing in different words, saying that when the Buddha had initially realized awakening, he turned away from teaching initially because of the profundity of that which he had realized.
Oh yeah, that didn't in that.
That being so, then, of course, for us, it's quite difficult to understand this topic.
대수아래 대권난이 시밤 대일 대권난이라 퇴상 제외 가디 대시베 가디 들세 그래서 양안 대와 마도 제 쳇딜라 양안 대와 마도야 동반이 마도장 제와신도 배매방에와 톱주 레시노 세데라 아니다 뜻송한테라 가소래 So there's
a verse also that even though it is difficult to understand and hard for us now to comprehend what is this subject, there's a verse out of the Master Aryadeva's text that expresses the sense that even so because it is difficult to understand, even if we don't comprehend it now, if we don't understand it at the present, making some effort to understand this in the present through hearing about it, through thinking about it, reflecting on it, through cultivating it in meditation practice, that even if we don't realize it now and we don't achieve nirvana in the present, it's definitely the case that in the future we'll, without any effort, be able to come to understand this.
Oh yeah. 제와신도 배매방에와 토주래시노 세대라 아니 딜제와 자단지라 아니 사자밴디다게 송지라 제와신도 배매방에와 토주래신도 세가나 나란도 데미게 레데 사소나 레데 제와 편이 레데 사와디 반 제와 이나양 아니 레데 남이 이데부들라 내와디 조그레 개발래이나 안에 개발래도 컨트롤 맞춰 받아. 미개발래데 님부터 샤바 마샤와라 차이나 개와데 남이 레레데 제나야 레데 남이 이들고라 내가 조그레 조그레 와 테벨라 하자니.
So the example that he gives is that it's like karma. If you create a karma in this life, and it's certain that in some future life, in the future, one's going to experience the result of that karma. There's some exceptions, like if you've created some kind of virtuous karma and you've destroyed the power of it through some kind of anger, then intense anger, then that sort of result won't be able to give its full, that sort of cause, positive action won't be able to give its full mature result. And then similarly, if you've created some kind of bad, extreme negative action, one can purify it through the force of the four opponent powers, such that extreme negative action won't give its result in the future. But with those exceptions aside, when one creates a karma, one's going to experience the result in the maturation of that action that you've accumulated in a prior lifetime.
사무동반이 퇴체명에와 단테를 마주나 양 동반이 퇴위 파샤 셈딘도 샤바디 아니 제와시 시점 소문장 남시네 아니 퇴위 동반이 퇴위 파자되라 아니 쇠담네 파자디야 쇠네 아니 사무동반이 퇴 또디 아니 지마시노 공발했다는 타바토바 용그레스 이가나 진이시에 가대된 양안시한도 양안대와 마저자 제와시한도 배매발 내가 토주 레시노 따티투심발.
So the end of that verse says that if you've if even though in the present life, if you haven't really fully understood reality, that nevertheless in a subsequent life, one will be able to understand it effortlessly. This explanation of this is that, like in the present, let's say if we're listening to a teaching on the nature of reality, we're making effort to understand it, but let's say that we don't gain a thorough, exact comprehension of it, of this through a valid cognition, through clear reasoning, establish the meaning of reality. Or let's say you do understand it to a degree, and then you reflect upon it further. You practice reflection, thinking about it, and then you implement it in meditation practice, but you don't gain complete comprehension of it or like direct realization of it, something like that. Then even if you don't accomplish that in this present lifetime, that establishes a propensity or a sort of imprint upon one's consciousness. Karmic causality will be set up that in a future life it would be the case that one would be able to effortlessly understand emptiness simply by hearing about it. Simply by hearing it, one can gain this kind of a clear comprehension of it.
토이 파자샤 자다샤고와레 안에 파자샤바 잠지 마침바 안에 동반이 그 퇴라 안에 퇴삼제 땡라 팜니 안에 로종체에 개천 보시오 임바레 그봐 인자 사뱅 리반 남바 치안랍 세디 케버 마조장 아니 제와셴도 배매바 놀라라니 렌단 총 소안 아신체니 대하고서 지대 리반 남바 치안랍 하고서 산이시그 예나야 대리 장구래 스리바래 산이시조그 예나야 대리 로종 지구래 스리와 리반 넘바 치안로 세디 케워 마주장스 세디라 케워 마주나 로종 첸이 세디 케워 마주나 사모동반이지 된다와지 마주나 세디 케워 마주장스 제와 치마 조와인 디 케워 로종 제와 그 저우데 제와 치마라 용민그레스 언여와 제와 치마 조와인 놀라라니 렌다 총 데벨할 거래 자라시 미치래 조여나 그봐 아니 대라라 고디 잠바 권련 쳐줘요 알아봐 오콘나지 노란 뭘 잘래 줘와래 지바레스
So the verse continue, or another verse expresses a similar idea, and it says that you should study now like there's no tomorrow. One should engage in investigation of this like there's no tomorrow, meaning that we don't know whether we're going to live tomorrow, wake up tomorrow morning or not. So we should study this when we have this opportunity, as if there's not going to get up and not going to wake up tomorrow morning. But even if you don't understand it correctly, one is establishing the imprints upon one's mind, and these imprints, these are of the activity of trying to understand this, establishes a kind of an imprint on the mind, which will inevitably, definitely manifest as a clear comprehension of the subject. And the example that's given here is like a wealth that's been loaned to another person. If you've loaned some wealth to someone else, even though you don't have it at the present, you're able to get that back at a future time. So that's the example that's applied to this action of hearing, studying, and reflecting upon, and trying to develop understanding of this in meditation.
Oh yeah, that tendency that 당하란죠. 다 가소래. 로종체 개체와 인산 다 되는 마 된다데 가소래 가상 그 시선 마 제가라. 다 가상 가war려로 노예. 다음에 또 배다와 집에 수숨 세지 뭐 예선. 데려와. 데려와. 다음에 또 배다와 집에 출라 숨 세지다. 데려와. 이 친구 말하자. 데려와. 다음에 또 배다와 집에라. 다음에 배다와니 집에 좀 바탕. 다와니 림전도 집아. 군도다 된다 배담배 남바 샤바. 전에 다 숨체. 다음에 배다와 집에出台了. 당 안 다음에 이다와 뒤균전이 세가라. 다 니 옆에 나네 담보 뭐 되라 다 가서 맞지 친차래 내 가서 휴차래라 당진이 지 기름나 취지 당진이 가서 그 당진 개바 이양 그러와 당진이 기름 가라 아니 담보 취지 당진이 그래 인자 취지 당진이 그래 취지 당진이 가서 그 당진 시체에서 가서 가져 나와 임바 취지 당진이 지 기름나 취지 당진이 가서 그 당진 개바 이양 나 다음에 비 태권아니라 주바나 라니 로 주바나 문도 가사 그 다음에 그 따와 깨네 뒤워도 아니 취지 다음에 그 따와 끼고서 걸음 태워하래 다음에 그 따와 깨네 뒤워 취지 다음에 그 다음에 끼고 그래 야
So then we've arrived at the section of the text which explains the system by which one generates the view which understands selflessness. And then this has three subdivisions. The sequence in which one generates these two views of selflessness, selflessness of persons and selflessness of phenomena. And then there's the actual way in which one generates this view, these two views sequentially. Then there's a presentation of the two realities, phenomenal reality and ultimate reality. These are presented in the first topic here, the manner or system in which one, process in which one generates the view that understands selflessness, has the actual topic here, and then the two reasons reasons for that being the actual process by which one generates the view of selflessness. And we've already stated this previously, mentioned it, so we've arrived at that part of the text, the actual part of the text where it's discussed. And so it says here that with regard to the sequence in which the two types of misapprehension of the self arise, it's the misapprehension of a self of phenomena generates the misapprehension of a self of persons. Although that's the case, when it comes to the mind, engaging one's mind into reality of selflessness, then first one generates the view of selflessness as it pertains to persons, and then after that, it's necessarily that first one generates the view that understands the selflessness of persons, and then after that, one generates the view that understands the selflessness of phenomena.
다시 풍부할 때는 따와 인장, 풍부할 때는 따와 인장, 아니 라완도 마주바데 풍비딘도 또 나와래 전행하시 가서 쉬워임바. 대나신 되는데 다시 풍부만 쳐봐라 마셔한테 아니 된다 이제 주에 가서 기부사면 주마에 매매로면 나가면 남些많이 꾸면에 텔레션에 기부 강 전에 소환 나신 전에 야 가서래 감주 쳐봐라 때는 따와 인제 감줄 쳐봐라 때는 따와 인장 아니 따바점 인장 아니 다시 감줄 쳐봐라 때는 따바점 인장 가사 코랑 그 라운드 맞주와데 또 나와요 자 디승거래
We've already discussed this roughly, given sort of a rough explanation of this, and now we'll get into the actual text, part of the text that explains this, and go through it in more detail. And as I said yesterday or previously, last week, that the reason. Why is it that when one's understanding, developing the view of selflessness, that one first has to develop the view of selflessness of persons before one develops the view of the selflessness of other phenomena? It's because the person or I is dependently designated. That is, it's designated in dependence upon its basis of designation, which is the aggregates, the components that make up the person. And those components or aggregates that make up the person are the base for the designation, whereas the I or person is designated in dependence upon them. Since it's clear that the I or a person, and once one demonstrates that the I or person is designated in dependence upon the aggregates, one can see more easily that it's not autonomous. It can't exist autonomously because of it being designated. So this gets explained here in verse, or Arya Nagarjuna said in the
아니 고라는 다시 주위에 사대 마인 주삼민 다시 주위 추대양 마인 다시 주위 매태양 마인 다시 주위 룽대양 마인 그 다시 주위 나가대양 마인 남시양 마인 다 다시 감추가 마이나 마이나 텔레션에 주강 세나 다 감추버려나 마이나 아니 텔레션에 주 가져와래서나 감주레레 마인바 마제 감주보 초바태양 말했어. 워낙 가르레에서나 감주 뒤위실에서 감주 뒤위실 감주 주발라 뒤원할 때는 따바 인비실이 양다 마인실 양다바 말하시 주마 마인실와 제시 감리레레 양 뒤지 양다 니도실 감 초바태양 레레 뒤원할 때는 중화 인장 아니 양다디 양다바 말하시 주마 말이
So this is explained then how, in the verse by Arya Nagarjuna in the Precious Garland, two verses I think, where it says that the person is not earth, is not water, is not fire, is not wind, is not space, is not consciousness. So these are the 6 elements that that make up a person. The 6 physical elements, and then the 5 physical elements, and then the 6th consciousness. This is another way of subdividing what a person is in accordance with the elements that that make them up. Comprises the same thing as the aggregates, but just a different way of categorizing the things that make up a person. And so it says. So this first part says that the person is not the water element, that is not the earth element that they're designated based upon, is not the water, fire, wind, space, or consciousness. These elements are bases for designating a person, but they are not persons as themselves as such. And then it says, if it's not all of them, meaning that it's not the collection or totality of these elements, if the person is not the collection of the elements, then where is the person apart from them, from that? And then then the verse says the person, because it's the collection of the 6 elements. What this, you have to gloss this verse's meaning is, or this line is meaning, is that the person is dependently designated upon the collection of the 6 elements. And then the verse continues, it's not real. It's not, because it's designated in dependence upon the collection of the 6 elements, it's not real. And then the verse concludes, therefore, each of the elements as well, because they are collections, are not real.
Oh, yeah. 가서래 뉘지 양다 뉴도 메시 온도 가사당 테네 테레 따비시 나든다 가사가 다음에 내가 또네 취지 다음에 제라 또그 세디 간데스레서나 온도 가사 때라 밥 디제수 아니다 다시 안에 감주 살아서왜 감주보다 라시메 바송아래 다시 살아서왜 감주보다 라시메 바 취지 다음에 참어체 저 다시 풍봉하셔도 가나야 온도 다시 가사 때라 밥 디제라 다시 풍봉하고데 아니 라시메 다시 풍봉 라시메 바 때라 봐봐 인장 네 값이 가사 다음에 온도 또네 디저스 취지 다음에 따와 때라 뵙세 그 취지 다음에데 아니 가로를 쓰고 아래에서나 다시 풍봉 라시지 매밤 강라 때네 때에 다시 감주 라시지 매바데 아니다 다시 가사 라시지 매비 또비 제라 또그 같은 거래
또 그래.
다시 가사 라시지 매바 또비 제수 아니 다시 풍부 라시지 매바다 다시 안에 감주 라시지 매바
So it says so because it says the meaning of this verse is that first one has to it teaches that so this verse teaches that first that the person is without intrinsic existence, and then it shows that the basis of designation for that person, the earth, etc. In the case of this verse, the elements which are earth and so forth are without essence or without intrinsic existence. So this verse demonstrates the process by which one ascertains. First, one has to understand that the designated thing is without essence or without intrinsic existence. And then subsequently, one understands that the basis for designating that thing is without intrinsic existence. here, as mentioned, this verse takes the basis of designation of the person as the elements, but one can do the same, and one does the same analysis with respect to the 5 aggregates as the basis of designation for the person. In both cases, one first understands the lack of intrinsic essence, with intrinsic being or intrinsic existence, with respect to the thing which is designated, and then one investigates and analyzes how the basis for that designated thing is themselves or itself, without any intrinsic being, without any intrinsic existence.
Oh yeah. 라지메 봤네. 치사단 보다 빨리 내장 대ኳ란에 주발라 토마 가사 그다음에 주바 셰프 치당. 아주 저와 보다 산제장지 저와 보다 빨리 당. 나와 잡에 치사 가서는 다음에 비티니라 주바나 토마 가사 그다음에 주바 셰바다. 아니 시발래장 셰라르베 가서 나라 가사 그다음에 셰네 뒤에를 쳐이 다음에 때나 봐봐. 어다
So this sequence of understanding of first sequence of establishing selflessness and sequence of developing the view that understands selflessness is that first one establishes the selflessness of persons, then the selflessness of other phenomena, and that the view is established the same way and understood the same way, is held by both. Chandrakirti, in his clear words, it's stated that way. Likewise, in the commentary on the basic verses of the Middle Way by Buddha Palita, he explains it the same way, that when one engages with reality, when one enters into reality or engages with it, first one engages in the selflessness of phenomena, and this is also taught in the same way by the master Shantideva as well.
Oh yeah, that you were teaching the tambo Kasa Dame on the dog goegi, Gunzen repair to Batella. Teta Chaku with Gunzen, Mula Kasa to Cheta Kasani into Kasa to Dan Pep, Church in the Jella Dan Barati. Teta Chaku with Gunzeni, she Kasa Dan, can't Dan la Babji, Rashi remember Dan la Babja Babsaki, she Kasa Dan. Church into Merji Damela Tara Mejang. Study church said the church any punso tinto, or punso tinto Muji Daniela Tara Mejang. Cheshi Neji, Cheshi Kansadang, Dacho Kansadang. Ane Dashi Neji, Cheshi Neji, Kansaki tinto, Ane Gajarashi Trubating, Lala. 当然，刚才大戏，俺们去碰手给顶住，俺们看住给顶住，也高啊，是吧？也高的，是吧？也得把住当。
kishi ne
ji，
的dakshi dakchi dan
dakshi dan dakchi，康萨大学切，碰不大戏切，是吧？切西地了吧？切西康萨当，俺那吹牛的些个那，切西康萨的，俺那康萨的碰不了等那大学康萨的下个的话，我第一张切西康萨当，去看的身上大西碰不的，康萨给大西碰不的顶住，每句咱们来查查每讲，即大学当即大西人民那句。 아니 가사기 땡도 아니 라신지 주바딩에 라와탕 다시 폼비 땡도 라신지 주바 그 다음에 동바데 에 가와
So, Xi Ganzatang Chu, Xi
다시 강사당
Dashi Gang.
다시 강사당 다시 풍보 풍소
So, with as far as the easiness of gaining an ascertainment of selflessness is concerned, well, first the basic topic here in the text is that there's the reason for why one first has to understand the selflessness as it pertains to persons before one understands selflessness as it pertains to other phenomena is because of the relative ease and difficulty with which one can understand selflessness with respect to these kinds of things, persons and other phenomena. And so here, the text says that there's no difference in terms of subtlety or coarseness with respect to the selflessness which is to be ascertained upon a thing, whether it's a person or some other phenomenon. So persons and other phenomena are equally selfless, and the selflessness of persons and the selflessness of phenomena are the same, is the same, but so here
최시 강사당 강사기 다음에 그 최전대 강사로
시 강사당 추기 팅도 시 강사당 시
풍속이 띵들어 봐. 제 풍속이 띵도 다음에 방에서게 매지 다들라 차라요 말이지. 와 오늘 가래에서 코리를 또 발랑 같이 중요해 돼. 강사기 띵도 갔다. 최시기 내기 아니 라신이 주바데 키라와.
So whether the base that you're establishing selflessness upon is a person or is some other phenomenon, there's no difference in the selflessness that one's establishing upon that base, whether it's a person or other phenomenon. However, because of there's difference in terms of the bases, the two bases in persons and other phenomena, with respect to the ease with which one can understand selflessness with respect to them. That is here, and the reason for this is, as we stated above, that the person is designated based upon the phenomena the other phenomena that comprise its basis of designation. That is for example, the five aggregates or the six elements. In either case, those five aggregates, let's say, are the other phenomena upon which the person is designated, and therefore it's easier to understand selflessness of the person first, and then subsequently understand the selflessness of the basis upon which the person is designated.
Oh yeah, that 되게 빼라. 맨날 최지 담에 대 최지 담에서 맨날 하시지 마주바장 최지 담에 채 수년 하시지 마주바장 최지 담에 마주바채 그러 맨날 가사게 담에 최지 담에 대 맨날 소지 띵도 내가 가와채 수년 그 띵도 수년 하시지 마주바데 내 라와 내가 내라에 주로 내라에 진짜 원래 대남 아미팅도 다음에 때라 배배 줘봐 이노스 이자 내라와 예장 대남 강사당 취지 띵도 안에 다음에 안에 가서래 대나 파바기 안에 튠베를 숭숭구아레스 튠베를 봐 숭숭구아레스 대해서도 아는 거에 뒤배라고 인자 소녀의 띵도 내라와데 거래를 해서나 미소 띵도 내가와체 소녀의 띵도 내라와데 거래해서 소녀 코랑 나와다 맞주봐 봐 소녀 자신도 나와다 맞주봐 알아서 내내 그 이장 곧 소녀의 지대발을 잡을 준비 인장 곧나 다시 가서 소녀 자신 나와다 맞주봐데 내라와 나시 아니 소녀의 띵도 다시 주봐데 나와다 맞주봐데 내라와요 배치가 많게是吧？别这个问题，因此看每句让先去出完了，虽然个定都让先去出完当，个呀个让先出完当，没少个定都让先去出完的，个呀个，安尼嘎着了，差了要嘛的，好的是。
So then there's an example given here that if we in the case of if we're talking about the selflessness of phenomena. It's more difficult to ascertain that with respect to eyes and one's nose and things like that, your sense organs, and it's much easier to ascertain that upon with respect to something like a reflection and so forth. So this is talking about the selflessness of phenomena. So selflessness of phenomena, or the fact that these phenomena don't possess intrinsic existence. In the case, why is it denam ngamiting tu takme
denam ngamiting ate
denam
그래서
denam ngamiting
ngamiting도 세 denam ngamiting도 다음에 denam ngamiting도 다음에 때나 베베르조바 이노서 소년의 시기를 다 소년의 자 남사를 가이나면 남조고에서 소년을 써봐 남 다음에 소년을 써봐기 소자기 가르를 했잖아 남사 소년을 써봐 지대나 준비 잡아 소년 장에 어디 연구를 와 소년을 써봐 지대나 준비 잡아 연구를 와 어디다 소년을 써봐 지대나 준비 잡아 대남 아마 간사당 아니 최지딩도 다음에 때라 베비 벨줘봐야 벨줘봐야
So here, if in the case, why is it easier to establish the selflessness of phenomena with respect to reflections and so forth than it is to establish the selflessness of phenomena, their lack of intrinsic existence, with respect to things like one's eyes and one's nose and so forth, the organs of your body. All of these are phenomena, both the reflections and the other things that are given as examples here, and on the same level as eyes and ears and nose and so forth. But it's easier to understand the selflessness of reflection because even within common worldly knowledge, it's generally understood within the world that a reflected image of a face is not a real face. It appears like a real face, but it doesn't exist as it appears. It doesn't exist as an actual face. So because it's commonly understood within the world that a reflected image of a face is not a real face, one can understand more easily that the face is dependent upon being designated, and it depends upon conditions for its arising. Sugningi pay, deni takpa, kasa sugningi pay, zuma.
Tanam said, Sunyala Soba, Jidamba la Trabi Chimbanam, tenam zumba tenam ani ngama kansada cheji tindu dame tenla papagi tenla pek perjobare.
So then lamas, gurus have expressed that these things like a reflected image of a face and so forth, a reflected image function as a example for establishing the unreality of things in the sense that they don't exist in the way that they appear, because even in ordinary worldly usage, we know, it's commonly known, that a reflected image is not the actual thing that it appears as. So just as that's the case with respect to the selflessness of phenomena, the same thing applies with respect to the establishment of the selflessness of persons.
Pero 다 간사랑 신디 매디 간사당 아니 미나수 가리나 대 최시순의 라신디 매디 아니다 균전 가려고 땡지 저와 중앙 임비실 빼나 수냐 나시리.
So then we see that then when one's actually establishing the selflessness of phenomena, we say that things like the eyes and the nose and the ears and such, these things are don't have their intrinsic existence because they are dependent originations, and then the example which is given is like a reflected image.
일단 일단 미나라서와 간사라서와 대다 라신지 주바 말에대 말한돌라 라신지 주바 나의 나와 태기 벨라양 아니 수녀 가소래 최신도 마주바래대 말한돌라 아니 수녀 최신도 나 배고거래 지다이더니 수녀 소동라 시와티 남바께 주다 대신고 탐자 떠나양 돈이 달라랍도 깨와 줄 엄마집에 가서 수녀 자신이 떠나양 아니 수녀 자신이 나와 깨기도 와서 치다나고 대담자 알아신지 집에 돈바르데 떠나양 알아돌아라신 집에 나와 깨그래.
So then this is explained in the introduction to the Middle Way, where it says that a reflected image appears like a face, but it's devoid of having any kind of nature of being a real face. So for us, when we look at a reflected image, it has this appearance as if it's an actual real face, but it's empty of having that status of being real, of having that kind of nature of being an actual real face. This is then that example is used to describe the situation with all phenomena. Internal and external phenomena are all empty of having that kind of reality which they appear or are being real in the way that they appear, even though they appear to us as if they existed, were established by means of their own intrinsic nature. They're actually empty of having that kind of intrinsic nature, in fact.
Oh yeah, that tenda digi kansobare sa ngela kansara shime ba tanla pamne ti jela anen ayiwa minala sobara shime ba tanla papa tripe tumni that de lung juba tela tendila gones anything je jayu toye kaso 치다 취지 다기 두신이 시바提醒 归了 略加차라 是吧 취지 다기 두시다 让心ji马主把시바提醒 다让心没把落地给看着的现在切西康萨中年 康萨个咱们点了 baby 西 아니切西康萨中年 提定都 아니 让心ji没把点了 8年 간사 그때도 라신 멤버 때라 배봐 시바 대신도 대신 끌라 로자차 시간 대신란 자와차 간들에서나 최나 탐제 뒤오니 다대 분소라 바차 现在在一张确那等于提醒我的康萨让心ji没把太心都让都马住把这种其他那个对于确他们家让个我你让心ji当兵我你嘞，是吧？原来提醒我你其他那个确他们家让心ji治病我你的用是他吧，用是他吧嘛当吧，哪个的他白人家。嘎什么难不？嘎什么个？你们拿心都，其他那个去他们家讲，让心去出吧，对对对，让心去出吧，嘎什么的，其他个去在那个，俺当把你的，是干啥的都嘎什么的，干啥大没？明那是学习的都嘎什么的，俺也看学习大没？
第去大个都是，
其他学习大个都是呢，写完提醒归来查实。当然是个啥呢？看啥给顶多让心去出啊，是吧？让心去出啊，嘎比都写的，写完提醒都老些，俺那个东西想来样叫我讲是，嘎就大的让心出啊钱，是吧？看都嘎的，干那西看啥个都嘎吧。
西看这个大个都是，
大个都是让心去出啊，
让心去出吧。
让心去出，大个都写的。写完提醒归了落在这，看啥个都让心没把，大让心没把写完的，俺那先来样解决来是。
So then there's a verse that explains this, the intent of this also as it's with this intention in mind. This meaning is expressed also in the King of Meditative Concentration Sutra. And it says, just as you have, 다기 랑징이 maybe.
랑징 매발라 잖아 지금 가주 달라 잖아.
So just as you have understood the idea of a self, here the idea of a self, you can construe that in two ways. One can say that the idea of self here refers either to the misconception that holds the self as existing by means of its own intrinsic nature. And knowing that would here refer to knowing the non-existence of that object, the intrinsic nature, which is conceived or held by the idea of a self. Or one could construe this in a different way and say that the idea of a self, the idea there is a correct apprehension of the non-existence of the intrinsic nature of the self. In either way, that way it maybe is easier to read the rest of the verse. In any case, knowing the idea of the self, then you should apply that, mentally apply that to everything else. And the verse continues saying that all phenomena are of that nature, have that nature, which is completely pure. Here, this is referring to emptiness. All phenomena have as their nature emptiness, which is completely pure. They are similar to space. Just as space is the absence of any kind of obstructing contact, of obstructability, one can say space is the absence of obstruction. Similarly, this absence or non-existence of intrinsic nature is the nature of emptiness. So, and that's the pure nature of all phenomena. So, then namkatabuyin.
Oh, and there is one. You also have a nagatabuyin. Che tamja rashi to be also taba, the tomba niche. Tomba de and a nagatabure. Nanga de gaja topic the gasam. 가삼 임장 인장 최남지 오랑신지 용서 답에 동반이 대당 가자 된주 가삼 인장 용서 답안 나갔다 부인.
So here, when we say that its emptiness is like space, space is defined as the absence of an obstruction. So obstruction, obstruction is the thing which is negated in the establishment of space or in the existence of space. And similarly, emptiness is the absence of the thing to be negated. Here, the thing to be negated is the intrinsic existence. So emptiness is similar to space in that respect, is the completely pure nature of everything.
Oh yeah. 용서 답안 나갔다 보니 텐드라비 가자 메가 지다데 돈이라와 어때 지기장이 탐제시 다 강사기 띵도 아니 강사기 다 가삼지 메가데 아니 시외 아니 최 탐제기 띵도 아니 가자지 메가데 아니 가서 르바게와 때라 밤메거바 아니 아마기 아니 tel라 때네 아니 시와 주구래 세대라 강경의지 티신이도 태용의 티신이도 통세 오지게 따와야 되니까지 따와야 스찬이 송아 되지 봐야 그 말에 자 최지게 된도라 심에 받단라 밥도가나 아니 동바징에 차라 예장 아니 되게 괜찮은데 아니 리바 최신지 된도 삼대 간라 아 리바 신 개버 거 막고 봐 아니 tel라 때네 아니 또 그래 세야데 지게 장에 탐제시
So that emptiness, which is the completely pure nature of everything, it's the mere absence of the that which is to be negated. Here again, that which is to be negated is the intrinsic nature. And when that mere negation of the thing to be negated, when one gains a comprehension of that, ascertains that through reasoning, then one doesn't need to engage in a lot of other forms of reasoning to be able to apply that to other objects. So if you ascertain the emptiness of a single thing through reasoning, then one can apply that ascertainment of emptiness to other things, everything else, without having to engage in other forms, extensive forms of reasoning, other forms of reasoning. And so therefore the verse says here, by one knows everything, and by one sees everything. So the same idea is expressed in other texts as well, where again,
ngao nyambi dagi dushi kangla jubi ngai nelu tere dwa dag sida chin dagi dushi sede ngao nyambi dagi dushi kangla jubi ngai nelu kasa ki nelu de sheba nas ni da mina so nangdang pumbala so chi che kun la yang ne riba ngama ki ngaten la baba ki kasa ka ten la baba riba de ma an jane 아니 대단 충바 시와 전에 리바의 추전에 아니 리바 대관에 아니 미소당 품소당 시집에 봐 시와 차와나 최지기 왕조 시신 통외 최신신 탐제지 최지기 왕조 장신지 마주바디是吧 시신 통외 최신 탐제지 장신양 시와다 통한 뉴소 세대 다第龙的那在用爱的人吧，洗脚人吧也说说，看个我去提醒你通话，我看啥就我在让些人没就把通了，啊你日把钱过把那买对吧， ngama ki riba tela tene kanjung ji tishi ni dong wa ti ngo ki tishi ni dong song ra ngo ji ge dao yang tene kun ji dao yin
So this is expressed elsewhere in the same exact meaning is expressed in the 400 of Master Aryadeva, where it says that by knowing the reality of a single thing, one can know the reality of all things. By seeing one can see all. This is expressing the same idea here. That is that if you understand, once you've ascertained the selflessness or emptiness of the person, then one can apply that understanding to all other phenomena without having to engage in extensive forms of reasoning. So this is explained here in the commentary on the verses that were quoted from the King of Concentration Sutra, where it says that when one has properly understood the condition of the I which is engaged in when one has the idea of a self which thinks I am, then one can apply that reasoning to all external phenomena. Other external phenomena one can apply that to all other phenomena such as internal phenomena such as one's visual organs and nose, etc., as well as to external phenomena such as pots and so forth. You apply that same reasoning to them, or you apply the same reasoning that one used to ascertain properly understand the condition of the I. And then once one has understood them that they're similar to that, they're similar to the I, then understanding and seeing the condition of a single phenomenon, one is able to, it's taught here that one is able to understand and see the nature of all other phenomena.
Oh yeah, tayan di kadula di karasana, kansa gitindu kansa kaya runga chigitindu, ane rashi me batala pabdi zamba kansa ginelu to kansa dame to wache, right? Kansa dame.
Yes.
Da che de la, ane che da kansa ni zu chibi che kaya runga chitala pabe, che dame to mi choba, right? Yo, mi choba, da di, there's she to me that the reward. Reva, she to chiba the career sana, and in the chibode. Kansa get nelo della pap chani tea into dashi punso into nella della pelcoate, and it changed dame, della pocket, Tinila, Tarayo, Pacha Chiba Kanga Tumbare, Rata, Tinila. That changed dame to the Zamba. 풍속 기능도 체지 마도 봐도 다시 풍속 기능도 라신지 주와 마가 봐도 체이 다음에 마도와 체이 다음에 담아도디 가라 풍속 체이 다음에 또와 저그래 대응한도 최다 가산이수 집이 체지 또와 옛날에 체이 다음에 또와 조금 말해 세게 개화가식 시수 직체 그라
오케이
아
시험송
아 그래서
Did you get that one?
그래서 이라
강사기 팅도
단대디 선수와 이 도마제 속으로 와 그래와 강사 그 다음에 체이 다음에 가지 또 그래서나 체이 다음에 또 이거나 최단 강사 뉴스 체비 체지 아니 체이 다음에도 또 왔잠지 체이 다음에 또 봐 미적이 다시 품비딩도 강사 품비딩도 담아 줘봐 나무 까봐나 체이 다음에 또 봐 줘봐 이노 송해지 개화가 식혀가래 어거서디 예 강사기 팅도 다음에 맞다 강사 위샤 체이다 강사기 팅도 강사 강야롱아 체기 팅도 라신지 주바 까봐 강사 다음에 또 봐 주바체 그러나 다 최지 담에 세야돼 최다 가사뉴스 집이 최 강야종 같이 담에 떠왔든지 최 담에 떠와 조그래 왜서나 조금 아래 생각지다 최 담에 강야로 최 담에 떠와 조그래 생각지 이 된다 직설 내고 하래 다 간제 된다지 다시 풍부히 띵도 랑신지 주와 까바대당 아니 간사 같은 데 랑신지 주와 까바대라 nga시여봐 당보다 간사 같은 데 랑신지 주와 까 뒤띵도 아니 가소래 풍부 랑신지 주와 까야 돼또 까와지 다시 쳐봐 칭찬인 봐 다뒤 응도 소년 같은 데 랑신에 받다라 파고도 와 소년 랑신에 받도 최이 담에래 대또봐 좀 최이 담에 또봐 조금 아래 생각지다 최이 담에 또봐 조그래 써야지 개가 세수니 요아래 아고사 아고사 일단다 세수니 연아양 단다 얘기 저번에 가르쳤잖아 세수니 왜 일단 최이 담에 또봐 조그래 쓰니까 최다 가사니수 집이 최이 담에 또봐 최이 담에 또봐 조그래 간사가 하시면 봐도 봐서 간사 담에 또 봐 저기도 와 지바 지자래 전에 좀 같이 다 지기 최이 담에 또 되잖아 수년이 된 최이 담에 또 봐 잠시 최이 담에 또 봐 조금 말해 최이 담에 담에 또 와라 담 또 사지 간 풍부 다시 풍부함 안에 다시 감독이 뛴도 아니 최이 담에 또 봐고 그랬어 이제 수술 민자요와 인자
Okay.
하고서
Well, 좋다. 자고요래. Okay. 저기 다음에 또 올라 가서 죽는기
수녀라시 말로 최이 담에 참으러 와.
와. 다음에 참어.
네, 수녀라시 말로 최이 담에 참어. 와. 수녀라시 뭐 최이 담에 들어와인데 대 가사 그 다음에 마동을 또 찾아와. 초좀 또 찾아와. 그 빼라 빼.
그래.
일단 제가 최이 담에 가라 또 건가를 도와. 가사 다음에 마도 가라.
그래.
인자 수녀라시 마주와 또 이가라 최이 담에 또 와. 저거를 최이 담에 딩하도 또 와래스. 단다 가사에 당신이 기름다 최이 담에 그 또르면서 애기 최이 당신의 가르쳐나 풍소 때문에 좋았을 텐데.
알레.
대샤 그 아래 전에 간식 개와 간식도 쓴 거 아래. 와. 다들 이제 그지 같이 무슨 문제야. 야 배를 가셔야 돼. 대연서나 야 가리 나사산도.
So there's a complication here that when we're talking about the establishment of selflessness of persons has to precede the establishment of the selflessness of other phenomena. The problem arises that, for example, we mentioned here that by understanding the selflessness or the absence of intrinsic existence of a reflection, one can then understand the absence of intrinsic existence of other phenomena. Things such as the eyes and the ears and so forth. Now, there's a kind of a complication here in that it seems from that as if one could then understand the selflessness of phenomena first, and because one can understand that a reflection is without intrinsic nature, and that understanding, the absence of intrinsic nature of reflection, is a type of understanding the selflessness of a phenomenon. And if one then understands that, then one can understand that the eyes and the ears and so forth, these other phenomena, are without intrinsic existence, are devoid of a self of phenomena. Then it sounds like that contradicts what was said here, that one first has to understand the selflessness, one first has to understand the selflessness of persons before one understands the selflessness of phenomena. Is that right so far? Did you? Yeah. but yeah, but then the problem arises. So, how do you resolve that contradiction? It seems, or one way of explaining this is by saying that in the case of when you're dividing phenomena into persons and other phenomena, when one is gaining this understanding of the selflessness of persons, it's in reference to oneself. And then when one's gaining the understanding of the selflessness of persons, consequent to that, or is based upon that, one is gaining an understanding of the selflessness of phenomena that are one's own components or aggregates that make up the person, or the basis for the designation of the person. That's what I got out of that so far. 디 강사단 주 니수 제외
최다 강사 니수 지구 최지 라시메 바도와 잠지 최다메 도와 조금 말이
주기 다음에 또
조금 말이 내 직체 알아
so
대지디가는 최다메 도와라 풍속 된도 내가 또 거래
랑기 풍속
다시
풍속
다시 풍속
so there the way to resolve that, or one way to resolve this, is by saying that when one is understanding the emptiness or selflessness of phenomena with respect to things like eyes and ears and such, these are not what is being phenomena that are included within the aggregates when one is subdividing things into persons and other phenomena. They're not subsumed by that category of other phenomena. Rather, when you're talking about understanding the selflessness of persons and then the selflessness of other phenomena, the other phenomena there are the aggregates that make up the basis of designation for the person specifically, and not other phenomena such as external eyes and ears and such that that way.
그래서 다 되면 완주시의 최선도 돈 니소어체 다 니와 따와 니고 되림전도 개방 뭐라시 다 가사가 다음에 또 따와다 최이 다음에 또 따와 니고 되림전도 개방 뭐더라 니 가사가 다음에 따라 봐봐도 최 다음에 따라 봐봐 니체 그러나 다 가사가 다음에 따라 봐봐더라 내가 안에 가서로 동시 따라 봐서기东西卡上我送我人得了，东西卡上我送我汤，得让心没把单了爸爸你一切，是吧？他汤不得了，东西卡上我送我得了，卡上接完呢，他做我日出去，他拉说我日出去，卡上当，是吧？啊，说是接我当，怕被卡上，是吧？说接谁呢？ 아니 대방고슴도 마동에 가사되라 소소교 시고하래 그러나 대방고슴도 통에 가사되라 아 파바 시고하래 그러나 어이다 라마토바 소소이 교대도 시천소 하나 시천이 소제다 파베 가사소 예라 응 대양 안다 가르를 텐다가 가사 대양 아니 까나기 내서 봐봐 저와 아니 가보 아니 가서래 내가 두지기 아니 가보 개회래 소바보다 누가 제지기 나보 미기회래 소바보다 까나기래 저와 까나 세디 그바다 미기회래 쓰고래 래 소바보다 대대부 영화보 가나 그 레진나면 그 대부 어느 대화다 동안 영화 보당 저왕아만은 디네 안에 치마라 공경기 레다 니몬고 방기 때니 야라 주니가 난네 아니 말이 발아서 와기 대다 그 방기 아니 네 코로 네네 아니 치마를 동간 양 눈도기 아니 코알 제제기 아니 가설에 두 내년이 또대 내년이 번제기 남대원 관발할 때네 아니 두 내년 세바기 대부 동안 세바기 아니 타비텐도 타바토비텐도 남 관발보다 아니 타바 벌써 다디기 제시 강사대라 법에 강사대라 주시하기 바래.
So then this leads us into the next section of the text, which is the actual way in which one generates sequentially these two views that understand the selflessness of persons and the selflessness of phenomena. This has two parts, the establishment of the selflessness of persons and establishment of the selflessness of phenomena. That first part has two parts as well. The establishment or the identification of the person and establishing that is without intrinsic existence. Here, person, when you're identifying the person is understood here as the base for emptiness, base of emptiness, and the absence of intrinsic nature is the emptiness, or is the property which is established upon that base. So the first of these has subdivisions as well, but here we'll, in terms of how the actual, here's the actual identification of the person. The so-called person is the examples that are given here, or subdivisions, or what constitutes a person, is the persons who are within the three types of beings, such as gods, etc. Then one can subdivide persons into ordinary persons and Aryas. An ordinary person is defined as a person who has not directly realized the reality. Who is not a person who, an ordinary person is a person who has not directly realized reality, and the Arya is defined as a person who has directly realized reality. And then these persons, with respect to the different types of persons enumerated here, you have, we can talk about a person as the accumulator of karma, which is either virtuous or non-virtuous, positive or negative, white or dark kinds of karma, and then the experiencer of the results of that kind of karma, the agent, or the one who revolves or circles within samsara. So by the force of karma and the mental afflictions, some persons cycle within the cycle of existence. And then likewise, the person is the one who cultivates the path in order to achieve liberation. So by seeing the reality of by seeing the reality of the path, which consists of understanding the expositions of the path, as well as realizing them in meditative through understanding them correctly. And then a person is those who achieve, those who are the obtainers of liberation, and etc.
No, yeah, don't dash.
So we'll stop there for now.
Nanda Shen La Che Ba Sha Ye Tang Gu